Good morning, everyone. I need to take coffee. I need to take a drink of coffee. Starting page 7 of my comic. I've already done page 4 of this episode, and I'm jumping to page 7 because that's where the mood took me. So let's go. If you're curious about this comic, I'm Miss Mark, by the way. If you're curious about this comic, you can read it for free over on Webtoons. Just search for Dazer and you'll be able to find it. The mental gymnastics that I have to go through to draw in the morning sometimes, it's like I have to discover a million tiny tricks, tiny tips and tricks to trick myself into drawing. Because what works one morning may not work the next morning, you know? And in some ways, I feel like my brain, it's like trying to convince a toddler to do things. And it's like, you know, yesterday you said to the toddler, I'm going to time you. How fast can you get it done? And that worked. But today that doesn't work. So then you're like, well, you can have a treat while you draw. And that works today, but it may not work tomorrow. Anyway, that's how my brain works. So now you guys know. It's a little insight into the inner workings of my mental headspace. But today's trick that I used, because I knew I hit snooze a few times, so I didn't start drawing until about 6:30 today. So I don't have a lot of time to draw before I go to my day job. But the trick that I used this morning was, well, you can have, I knew I could get one panel done. So I was like, well, you could go to work knowing that one panel is done, or you could go to work knowing that no panels were done. And I was like, no, I'd rather have at least one panel done. So I, begrudgingly, sulked in here, started drawing. She's kind of needs to look just a little bit more dreamy because of what she's talking about here. This paper that I'm drawing on is basically like cheap printer paper. And then when I ink it, I'll ink it on nicer paper. But I do my pencils on this cheap paper, which is good 99% of the time. But sometimes like erasing can be a little tricky, or it just doesn't hold up to like really intense erasing and drawing. I like that. I'm glad we added it. I'm actually pretty happy with what I roughed out initially. So basically what I'm going to do is just darken it up a little bit and kind of just add some textures and some details. But I kind of like the layout as is, so pardon me, microphone. The other thing that I am bearing in mind is there's actually going to be a word balloon here, which is, a little bit sad. I'm going to draw all these details and then just put a big old circle on top of it. And that's why I designed the panel the way that I did, so that there's just a background here and then she's over here. So the background doesn't cover, or the word balloon doesn't cover anything important, but every once in a while I put a word balloon every once in a while I put a word balloon in a panel, and I'm just like, nice, you can hide all of that line art that I did. All of it is now lost forever. Okay, good morning. Panel 2 of page 7. Here we go. I gotta move this a little bit. If this camera light setup is right in my face, it's really hard to see the panel, and then I end up leaning to the side to see around the light, and the panel comes out weird. So anyway. My rough pencil sketch underneath was actually pretty good. Honestly, I probably could have inked it. But I decided to do a quick redraw because there's little things that you catch or things that I find I want to add. Even if the rough draft came out pretty good, it usually benefits from another round of refining. Feel like, I don't know if I quite like his eye placement. That actually looks better. I just like flattened the eye just a little bit to get like a side profile. Maybe that's all it needed. I almost want to add a background. Do I really want to do that? I'm going to leave it. The next two have backgrounds, and this is him sort of having a realization. So we'll leave it blank to sort of emphasize the like, sort of like his brain just went blank kind of moment. So I think we'll leave it. I almost like the idea, they're out in the garden. I like the idea of like just a couple leaves falling in the background. I think I'll do that. And then if I don't like it, this would be pretty easy to remove digitally. I just kind of like that it has something going on. Okay, I hope you can hear me okay. I'm very much still waking up. We're gonna do this is panel 3 of page 7 of season 5 of my comic, Taser and Eleanor. Get going. Was a little nervous going into this one because it's like a kind of raised camera angle, and I just don't do super well with like interesting camera angles. I don't practice them enough. So I just, yeah, I don't do super great. But this one's not too complex, I would say, so hopefully it goes okay. Whose idea was it to draw a downward angle? Whose idea was that? Wish I could have like a brain scan while I'm working, because art has always been like, it affects my brain almost the same way like staring at a screen does. Which way was it pointing? The other way. It affects my brain almost the way a screen does. Like, it makes me feel awake. It doesn't like, it's not quite like caffeine, or anything like that, but oh, this is difficult. Wow, this was not a good panel for talking and drawing at the same time. This scene, they're kind of sitting like on a cobblestone path, and then we have like a top-down view of that cobblestone path. So that's what I'm trying to establish here. Anyway, Yeah, I'll ink her and the table a little bit more thicker than the cobblestones to pull it forward a little bit, because I think that's what's bothering me, is the line weight all seems to be the same. But we'll fix that. We'll fix it in post. Okay, and as it is only 5:30, there's no sunlight yet. We'll just go ahead, draw this last panel because it's pretty straightforward, and finish up this page. I'm so glad that this episode, this season, I should say, has Eleanor's brother in it, because I actually really like drawing him. And he hasn't been in the comic very much. Which honestly is a regret of mine. When I wrote Dazer and Eleanor, I didn't write it. I have written each season very much on the fly by the seat of my pants as I get to each season, which I think shows. I think the actual plot itself is okay, but I feel like there's a lot of character stuff that just didn't happen, and it really could have, you know? Like, I feel like Edric and Eleanor's relationship could have been explored more fully. I feel like Dazer's background, and Eleanor's background for that matter, I feel like their backstories could have been explored more fully and played a more significant role. So yeah, I really regret not writing that in there. But maybe it's a good thing, because it definitely would have extended the story of the comic. And this is still my first webcomic. I've been doing it since 2018, but it's still my first webcomic. So maybe it's a good thing that it wasn't super duper complex. But I do regret not giving characters kind of their due backstory. Actually, I think this is gonna go like this. Oh, lordy. That's completely wrong. Oh lordy. Okay. This shoulder is closer to us and it's so tiny. This shoulder is a little bit further away, but it's so big. Guess who didn't finish their coffee yet? My gosh. There. Big and biggin. I was about to say biggin. Enlarge that shoulder and then shrink this one. Oh, that's so much better. Whew. Okay. Drawing some flowers down here. Technically, I'm kind of forcing this perspective. Not that you guys care all that much. You wouldn't, like, these flowers are growing down at the bottom of the bushes. You wouldn't, like, technically be able to see them here. But I'm kind of fudging it a little bit because I think it adds something to this panel to have the flowers down the corners. So. See, this is what feels so cool and just kind of gets me kind of pumped. I'm gonna finish this well before 6 in the morning. And I get to go to work knowing I have a finished comic page. Well, that's pretty awesome. Like yesterday I finished up a comic, or not comic. I finished up a spread in my sketchbook with a painting. And going to work knowing that you finished a sketch spread also feels pretty amazing. My next comic, Sugar Serpent, actually will have a significant amount of forest drawing in it, but I'm kind of basing it more on Japan. So I really want to work on kind of like foliage that feels like it's not so generic, kind of like it feels like Japan. So I'll probably have to do some studies at some point. I probably won't draw all these bricks in the final version, but I need to have the guide there to make sure they stay consistent and, you know, straight. Alrighty, and with that, we have another page completed. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you felt like I kept you company, and I also hope you felt inspired to do your own work. Go out there and do whatever it is you do. And I will see you in a future video. Goodbye.